Hi, we're here today to film Q&A with AEP. I'm Brandy Pennington. This is Maurice Pennington. Maurice will be our insight into a less experienced viewpoint from weddings. I will have an expert opinion on weddings after 22 years in the industry. I think that I know quite a bit and can help everyone out there. Our goal with AEP is to help couples be as informed as possible, whether or not they actually have a wedding planner. So these small videos will give you some background information on topics that are regularly questioned when planning and will help you even if you don't end up hiring a planner. So our topic today will be whether or not you should close the bar. And so if you're thinking about what that looks like, that would be that at the reception, there would be some window of time in which you would consider closing the bar. Sometimes when you're booking a venue, the bar packages are 4, 5, 6 hours. And if your reception is 7 hours and your bar package is 6 hours, you may consider closing the bar during speeches, which would be cocktail hour ends. We do all the introductions, speeches, and then we get into the reception. There's also the opportunity to close the bar before the actual end of the evening. All of these variables come into what makes the most sense for your reception. Maurice, have you been to a wedding where the bar is closed?
Yes, I have. At first, I didn't really understand it, but working with you, it makes sense in my eyes to close it so you don't have everybody like drinking the entire night. Like it seems like they can be a little trouble.
Yes. So during cocktail hour, bars open. The most bartenders you could have should be there. Cocktail hour tends to be the heaviest time to drink. What will happen if the bar isn't closed is when we go to ask everyone to sit down, nobody will sit down. We really have a lot of trouble getting people out of the bar line. So the consideration has to be whether or not that matters. If you have really, intimate speeches happening, if you are having really special moments happen at this beginning time frame of the reception, the last thing that you want is half of your guests in line at the bar, or worse, your guests getting up and down during things that you're doing or during filming if you have a videographer.
So what would be the best way to like close the bar and like have people know that the bar is closed during a certain time period?
So bearing in mind that people hate when the bar closes in general, there's uproar. There's sometimes some yelling. There's sometimes some taking it upon themselves to get their own drinks. So it's a weird time frame. But my recommendation is that we do in fact close the bar after cocktail hour so that everyone will sit down. The best way to do that is to have a sign at the bar during cocktail hour that says at 7 o'clock the bar will close until 8 p.m. It doesn't necessarily have to be an hour. It doesn't necessarily have to be closed entirely, but usually giving them that heads up will allow them to get 2, 3, 5 drinks to bring to their table to make sure that they have enough alcohol to get them through that very small time frame in which the bar is closed. I personally don't understand the anger and frustration that comes about during this time frame, and if you haven't done it or witnessed it, you are not going to be able to even imagine how unhappy people are about closed bars.
People like their drinks.
People like their drinks. So if you are worried because you have very heavy drinkers, and it is absolutely acceptable to know that your guests like to drink a lot, you could offer wine service during dinner. You could have champagne at the tables. You could have servers getting drinks from the bar. That would entail, excessive service. But there are a multitude of ways to continue to supply alcohol without having the bar be open and having people in line and having people getting up and down to get drinks. If you have to pay extra for additional bar time, I would always recommend just closing it for that time frame anyway, because you don't want to spend more money to have more alcohol when in reality, people are just walking in, sitting down, eating dinner. I don't know a time frame in which you'd want the bar completely open all the time. I think that if you're having a very informal wedding and you are really truly dedicated to the party concept, you can let kind of everything go here and there and left and right. I just don't know that it ever works out in a way where we aren't kind of interrupted by people in line at a bar. But I think that you have to weigh that out. I think a lot of times you know your guests better. If you think that it'll be problematic, don't close the bar.
Is there a situation where you can have a certain type of alcohol, like maybe just nothing but wine during the like a certain time, and then like the beer and like maybe the harder liquors afterwards?
Yes, so you definitely could do cocktail hour with beer and wine and have a full bar open after cocktail hour, or full bar at cocktail hour, beer and wine for the rest of the night,
Right.
depending on what you wanted to do. I don't know how many venues are willing to accommodate like a pick and choose bar concept. We even have, this idea is really awesome, pre-ceremony cocktails.
What is that?
So it would be that you would invite your guests to the ceremony and say that your ceremony was at 5. You tell your guests to arrive at 4, and from 4 to 5, your guests mingle, have a few drinks, then they sit down for the ceremony.
That makes sense.
So I love it
Yeah.
because it loosens people up for the ceremony, which is usually like a very, I don't want to say uptight, but like for such a warm and fuzzy moment, everybody's kind of uncomfortable and they're trying to figure out what to do. I think 2 drinks in, and now you've got a group of people who are like in love with you and like really, really invested in what's going on because they've kind of relaxed a little bit. They've gotten to know each other. The only problem with that, again, is we're still closed. We still have to close the bar to get people to sit down for the ceremony, and that does take a little more time. So once again, if you're doing a very formal ceremony, this probably isn't going to work because you are going to have people now really social, interacting, talking. And so I think that it would definitely make it harder, but I really like some of these ideas that are starting now where we're thinking outside of the box and we're creating things that are personal to the client instead of a very standardized, here's what we have to do because this is what we always do at weddings.
Right.
Do you have any feedback on
that
the
is
bar
very interesting.
closing?
I like the pre.
I like the pre-cocktail.
Yeah.
I really think that it would make ceremonies so much more fun if that were the case. However, you're talking about adding another hour of drinking to what could potentially already be 6 hours of drinking. And while, yes, everybody wants to drink all night, I don't know that you want 6 hours of drunk driving home. Or Ubering, or shuttling, or whatever it is that they're getting home. So that's our topic for today, open bars. We'd love to hear what you think. So if you would like to leave a comment or if you would like some feedback on that, let us know. We will have different topics coming and hopefully inform everyone so that they can go into planning their own wedding and feel really confident in what they're deciding.